Welcome to House Edge. Before we start the episode, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe here on YouTube. And check us out on Twitter, TikTok, and Discord at House Edge Bet. Links down below. Enjoy the show.
What's going on, guys? Welcome back to our NFL postseason edition of House Edge. The regular season is over. Kind of makes me sad, but that means we have more exciting football. The postseason's here. How you doing, Rob?
Doing good, but yeah, we're here in the playoffs. Everything from the last 18 weeks doesn't matter. Win or go home. Got to make these picks.
Yep, one game, win, or your season's done. And more than half the league, their season is done. The AFC North, I just want to say, first division since 1935 to have 4 winning record teams, which is crazy.
Yeah, man, that AFC North, they've been one of the best divisions in football for a while now. You're always looking to get at least 2 teams from that division, possibly 3.
It was almost 4 this year. Almost. Yeah. Bengals just had to beat the Chiefs, and they were in.
They're one of the last divisions that all the teams play defense. You know, they all have that style.
Right. Yep. Speaking of last week, Rob went 2-2. I also went 2-2, but we both hit our parlay for the first time. The double parlay hit, which puts us both positive on our parlay numbers for the year. Still down a little bit on the singles for the year, but yeah, let's get into more picks. We each have 1 pick for every single game this weekend, so we'll just go game by game. First game, Chiefs-Dolphins. I'm taking the Chiefs 4.5-point favorites over the Dolphins. I heard it's going to be close to 0 degrees before the wind chill for this game, which means probably like minus 20 with how windy Kansas City gets. The Dolphins are not ready for this. Trust me, they are not ready for that cold.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. The finesse of the Dolphins isn't going to be working in those rough conditions. I'm also on the Chiefs. I'm going to take them on the money line, minus 220. I'm going to throw 2 units on it. I just can't. The 4.5, 5 is just too much for my liking in those conditions. This is a game where field goals are going to be very valuable.
Yep. Better kicker is also Harrison Butker, so he's honestly getting up there with Justin Tucker type numbers.
Yeah, man, he's got the longevity. He's doing 50-yarders in a bad weather state, you know. It's definitely one of the best.
Yep. And moving on to the second game, Browns at the Texans. We have opposing picks here. I am taking the Browns, and I'm taking the 2.5 that they are favored over the Texans. I just think Joe Flacco is on a mission, one last hurrah, you know, and I honestly could see the Browns making it to the Super Bowl.
I can't see it. I'm taking the Texans money line. This is when the Joe Flacco parade ends. It was a great comeback story, but this is the playoffs. It's time to get real. I think that the Texans have the advantage of having seen Joe Flacco. This is going to be their second time of the year. So they got that tape of Joe Flacco against their current team. And I think they take advantage of that. D'Amico Ryan, a defensive coach in Texas role.
Yeah, D'Amico Ryan is a great defensive coach. He might be a head coach somewhere soon.
He is the head coach of the Texans, man.
Oh, man. Yeah, you're right. We'll pretend like that didn't happen. Moving on to our next game. Lions, Rams. We have opposing picks again here. I'm taking the Lions money line. Their defensive coach, Dan Campbell, is going to cook up enough to stop the Rams, hopefully.
So I'm going with the Rams on this. I'm going money line plus 152. I think Matthew Stafford has been waiting to play a playoff game in Ford Field his entire career. I think he goes in there, and even though he's the bad guy, he shows up, tears up the Lions. Plus, the Rams have just been on fire of late. They've only lost to the Ravens in the last 8 weeks, and that was an overtime game. I think Kyron Williams in that run game, plus Matthew Stafford, gets it done.
Yeah, if the Rams win this game too, I'm on board with the Rams as probably the best team to challenge the 49ers in the NFC.
It's going to be a rough challenging the 49ers. They really look good right now,
Yeah,
outside of maybe the Ravens.
I mean they're the best team in the NFC by I think a pretty wide margin from what we've seen. It's just they I don't know. I think the Rams might get lucky against them, but it's a home game for 49ers as well. I think they might just cruise to the Super Bowl.
Absolutely.
The next we have another NFC matchup, Bucks versus the Eagles. We're both on the same side here. I'm taking the Bucks and I'm taking the points +3 against the Eagles. The Eagles are just in shambles right now. The last few weeks have looked really, really rough. Losses to the Giants. I think they lost to the Cardinals too, right?
Yeah.
It's those were games when me and you were looking through their schedule on whether they would finish above the Cowboys. We both said absolutely they're going to beat these two teams.
They got 3 free wins at the end.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they get 1.
Yep. They're in shambles right now. Apparently AJ Brown is not happy and that's rubbing off on other people. It's Bucks +3 for me.
Yeah, it's a sad day. I'm letting go of my Super Bowl favorite in the first round. I think the Bucks go out there and beat them. Everybody's eating on this defensive secondary. Mike Evans is going to be no different.
Mm-hmm.
I think that the Bucks have good coaching, maybe not great coaching on the sideline for their defense approach. So the Eagles are having their offensive slump right now. So I think the Bucks take this in an upset.
Mm-hmm. I have them money line in my parlay later as well. And moving on, next game, the last NFC matchup between the Cowboys and the Packers. We have the same pick here. Cowboys -7 over the Packers. I mean, this team is just much better when they're playing at home. I think they can beat anybody as long as they're playing at home. And especially the Packers, Jordan Love's first playoff game. I think it's going to be a rough time for him.
Yeah, Jordan Love's first playoff game. Cowboys are at home. Everybody, they tear up everybody at home outside of the Lions. I think this is a win that they cruise to.
Yep. I think you could see 10, 15 point margins here with the Cowboys.
Oh, yeah. I expect this game to be over by halftime. The Packers aren't ready.
They're not. And our last game, we have the same pick here as well. Steelers versus Bills. We're both taking Steelers, and we're taking the points +9.5 against the Bills. The weather conditions for this game, if it was the weather conditions like that outside, there is no shot I would be going outside. 65-mile-per-hour winds, foot of snow expected. I don't think there's going to be very many points in this game. 10 points, way too much to win by.
Yeah, same reasons as you. This weather is just going to be too crazy. I wouldn't take any touchdown props for this game.
Take unders.
Take unders and maybe a running back to fall into the end zone.
Right.
But this is going to be a field goal game. A lot of defense. So I'm taking the +10. Probably ends 13-7.
Yeah, and Mason Rudolph has not looked that bad in the last few weeks, even though I'm not bought into him at all. Let me get that straight. I have not bought into Mason Rudolph. So I think this playoff, I think they're going to lose the game, just not by 10 points.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that the Bills, they win this game, but they don't cover.
Mm-hmm. Yep, that wraps it up for our wild card singles picks, our straights, and moving on to our parlays. Rob, what do you got for your wild card parlay?
So I'm going with a player prop parlay. Got 3 props. Going to CJ Stroud over 1.5 passing touchdowns. This Cleveland defense is a little bit, not worse, not bottom feeders per se, but they're a lot worse on the road. So I think CJ Stroud takes advantage of that and cruises to the win. I got Matthew Stafford in the revenge game over 1.5 passing touchdowns. And to finish it off, I got Isaiah Pacheco over 64.5 rush yards. They just run the ball in that bad weather, and he gets to 65.
Yeah, 64.5 is way too low. I feel like they're going to be feeding him all game, and that guy runs like I haven't seen anybody ever run in my life. Like his life is depending on this next run, especially in the playoffs. He's going to be ready to go.
Your life on the line. You need 5 yards. Give it to Isaiah Pacheco. He's going to run hard.
Yeah. I like every single one of these picks. I expect the Joe Flacco, CJ Stroud game to be a shootout. The Matthew Stafford, Jared Goff game also to be a shootout. And now that I say that out loud, I can't believe I'm trusting Jared Goff over Matthew Stafford.
In a shootout.
I might switch. I might switch on that game before the start of that game, but moving on to my parlay, I do have the Lions money line in that parlay. I have Chiefs money line over the Dolphins. I'm just taking the winner of every single game. Chiefs, Bills, Browns, Cowboys, Lions, and Bucks all money line. I went through a lot of the reasons before. I do think the Bills do beat the Steelers, even though I'm taking the Steelers points. And the Lions-Rams game, I'm just going to pray for the Lions defense, I guess, to show up. And I'm taking that. That puts me at plus 1370 on the odds, which is the longest odds I've taken on a parlay all year. But it's wildcard weekend. Time to get wild, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's catch the sweaty six.
Exactly, the sweaty six. All right. That wraps up the picks for wildcard weekend. Rob, you got anything else for the people?
Nothing else for the people. Let's lock in this, guys.
You get your buffalo chicken dip and get on the couch. 3 days of football coming up.
Yeah, 3 days, 3 more weeks, or 4 with the Super Bowl. But
yep.
Who's counting?
I hope it doesn't end, but here we are. Every year, same thing. Yeah, guys, thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. See you next time.
See you next time.